Do we put the video on for that short time?
Go.
Alrighty, let's see here. Let's see. I think you've got to give me the video rights.
Okay, Tyler, could you give Mel the video rights?
I mean, we've all seen Mel. I don't know. Do we really need it?
Hey, kick that guy out. I know who he is.
This is an anonymous participant.
All right, here we go. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started here this afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the monthly meeting of the City of Des Moines Zoning Board of Adjustment. This board has the power under Iowa law and the zoning ordinance of the City of Des Moines to hear and make decisions on requests for variances and exceptions from the regulations in the zoning ordinance, to review conditional use permit requests, and to review appeals from any decision of city staff in the administration of the zoning ordinance. The members of this board are citizens of the City of Des Moines and have been appointed to this board by the Des Moines City Council. The board members are volunteers and receive no compensation for their public service. I'm going to take a minute here and I'll introduce our board members who are serving with us today. We've already heard his voice. We should have Nathan Blake. Also with us is Cindy Smith, Marlis Jones, Lynn Carlson, Dave Gare, Justin Gross, and again, I'm Mel Pins, the board chair. We have some city staff who will maybe assisting us today. Those members include Judy Parks Cruz, legal counsel to our zoning board of adjustment, Bert Drost, city planner, Eric Lundy, city planner, Jason Van Essen, city planner, Catherine Dostart, city planner. The city's zoning enforcement officer is Sue Ann Donovan. Planning administrator is Michael Ludwig, and assisting us as meeting moderators are Tyler Hall and Glory Parks. Now I'll cover the meeting's procedure here. Our meeting procedure is basically the same as it would be if we were conducting this hearing in person, except we've just got a few little clicks and permissions needed when it's time for people to provide information or testimony. So I'll go ahead and cover our meeting procedure and we'll help everybody through the process as we go through this step by step. So don't worry about that. We'll guide you through this. This is an open public meeting. It is a formal hearing. The hearing is being recorded. The board members have each received a copy of the agenda and the staff recommendations. This board is required to base its decision on each item upon the criteria established by law for the type of release sought by the applicant. The law applicable to each case has been identified in the staff report. If the facts, as determined by this board, demonstrates that the criteria established by law for granting the relief has been satisfied, then the board must grant the relief. Otherwise, the board must deny requested relief. Each item will be announced in the order that it appears on the agenda. Items listed on the consent portion of the agenda are not planned to be individually discussed for approval in accordance with the recommendations in the staff report. Not agree to the conditions recommended by staff, or if there's a member of this board that requests that the item be removed so that a full discussion on the matter can occur. After an item is announced, staff will give a brief overview of the appeal and they will present any written comments that have been received prior to the hearing. Applicant or their representative will be allowed up to 10 minutes to present their appeal. We will then move to the public comment portion of the hearing. Anyone wanting to speak in support of, opposition to, or in neutrality of an appeal will be allowed up to 5 minutes each for their comments. This will be their one and only opportunity to address the board. And as board chair, I'll make sure that I notify everybody of their appropriate time so that we make sure we do get everybody's comments on the record that they wish to make. If you do wish to speak on the item at hand, if you're participating by Zoom, please click the raise hand icon on the participants panel. Or if you're participating by phone, on your keypad, press star and 9, and that will let the moderator know that you're on the call and that you wish to speak. Then when it is your turn, the meeting moderator will unmute your microphone and acknowledge that it is your turn. If you're participating by phone, in order to unmute your phone, once you're given permission, you need to press star 6. And again, we will take you through this step by step. If you have any documents that are going to support any information or testimony that you are providing today, if you have not already, you need to email those documents to the city at planning@dmgov.org. That's planning, spelled PLANNING, at dmgov.org. Once all concerned citizens have spoken, the board will then ask any additional questions of city staff. Finally, the applicant will be given 3 minutes, if they so choose, for a rebuttal or other closing comments. All speakers are requested to begin their presentation by giving both their name and address. If you're here in a professional capacity as an attorney, a contractor, engineer, architect, etc., you can give your place of business for your address. If you're here as a property or homeowner of concern, you may give that address. All speakers are requested to remain courteous and to focus their comments only upon those facts that demonstrate whether or not the criteria established by law has been satisfied. Speakers are also asked to ensure that they are respectful of time considerations, and if necessary, the board chair will limit further comments by a speaker if they exceed their time limit. After testimony, the board will close any further public comment on the agenda item, and the board will then immediately deliberate the request. We will make a decision here today. Please note that it takes at least 4 affirmative votes of the 7 members of this zoning board for any appeal to gain approval. If your appeal is approved today, we ask that you wait until next week if you would need to contact the city's Permit and Development Center for any necessary building permits. This allows the decision of this board to be documented in the form of a decision and order. That decision and order will be provided to our permit staff as well as to the applicant. Any appeal that is approved by this board must be implemented, constructed, or otherwise utilized within 2 years of the date of the decision by this board, or such approval shall expire. The decisions of this board can only be appealed in the Polk County District Court. So if you believe you've been harmed by an error made by this board, your only remedy is to seek relief through the district court within 30 days of the filing of the board's decision and order. If you believe the zoning regulations applied by this board are wrong, you may petition the city council to change those regulations for future considerations. All material that is written or otherwise used or presented today as part of anyone's testimony or presentation will become a permanent part of the record. So please give us appropriate copies by emailing those to staff if you have not, and you may contact staff after the hearing if you would like a copy of any materials presented today. We ask that you keep your microphone on mute other than when addressing the board, so as to limit any distractions or background noise during the hearing while it is in progress. We also ask that you refrain from using any chat or question and answer function within Zoom, as that will not be monitored and can be considered as what's called an ex parte communication, or communication outside of the process. So that's basically how we do the hearing. However, as I mentioned, we'll guide everyone through the process here today. So I just wanted to welcome everybody here kind of with a little video. I'm going to go ahead and sign off on the video portion, and we're going to check in with Bert Drost, and he will tell us if we have any changes on the agenda. Mr. Drost?
Sure. Mr. Chair, members of the board, Bert Drost, planner for the city of Des Moines. We do have several changes to today's agenda, more than normal. Well, items number 1 and number 2, I believe, will stay on the consent agenda unless a member of the board or somebody in attendance wants to pull those for a full discussion. But then items number 3, 4, 5, and 6, which were requests from Casey's to add liquor sales to 4 of their gas station convenience stores. Those have all been withdrawn by the applicant, so those public hearings will not occur today. And then item number 7, which was a request from the Des Moines Public Schools for a new scoreboard at 1591 East University Avenue, has been removed from the agenda as well. So a public hearing will not occur on that one today as well. And then item number 8, which is our only remaining discussion item, a request from All Pro Properties at 225 Watrous Avenue. They have requested a continuance to the November 18th meeting so that they can continue discussions with the zoning enforcement staff. So staff would be supportive of a continuance on item number 8 if the board would make a motion to do so.
All
This is
right.
Nathan.
Bert, I'm just curious, is the applicant related to item 8 present at the hearing today?
I see their attorney, Billy Mallory, is in attendance and his hand is raised, so I will give him permission to talk. So he should now be able to unmute himself.
Thank you. Have I been unmuted?
Yes, you have.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Yes, my name is Billy Mallory. I am an attorney with the Brick Gentry Law Firm in West Des Moines. We are present, and in my office, I do have Ms. Neff, who is affiliated with this appeal. And we have been working with Jason, talking with Jason, and then I had some emails with Sue Ann yesterday. And yes, we are requesting this continuance so that we can continue to work with the zoning enforcement and the city through this process.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Neff. So board members, if there are or aren't any questions, we wouldn't be looking at hearing the case today, but unless there's some question related to the reason for the continuance, would there be a motion by a member of the board to continue item 8 to the November scheduled meeting of this board?
This is Nathan Blake. I'll move that we continue item 8 to the November meeting.
Is there a second?
This is Marlis. I will second that.
All right, so we got a motion by Nathan, a second by Marlis. We'll take a roll call and say yay or nay on the continuance.
Dave Gare,
Yes.
Justin Gross,
Yes.
Marlis Jones,
Yay.
Cindy Smith,
Yes.
Nathan Blake,
Yes.
Lynn Carlson,
Yes.
and Mel Pins.
Yes.
A motion to continue this item to next month's meeting, 11/18. Is that correct, Bert?
Yes, November 18th.
Okay, yep. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Tyler. All right, Mr. Neff, we will see and hear you next month,
Thank you all.
if necessary. Okay.
Thank you all.
All right. So then that brings us back to our consent agenda. And as I mentioned on consent agenda, staff is recommending approval of the items on consent agenda. I'm going to read through those. We do not plan to hear testimony. Staff is recommending approval of those, subject to the applicant complying with the staff recommendations or conditions therein. So if there's anybody who would be objecting to this board granting approvals for items 1 and 2, I'm just going to take a poll of the audience here and see. So item 1 is a conditional use approval request related to the R&T Lofts at 717 Locust Street in downtown Des Moines. Is there anyone present by phone or by Zoom that would object to this board granting approval of that conditional use? It is related to, I believe, a bar or tavern use on the premise. So what we'll do, we'll start with Zoom. Please hit the raise hand function if you would object to this board granting approval on item 1. Anybody with their hand raised? And we'll do the same sign if you're by phone and you would object to this board granting approval of item 1, at 717 Locust. Hit the *9 keys, star and then 9, and staff will recognize you. So staff, do we have anybody objecting by Zoom or by phone with *9?
It does not appear so.
All right. All right, I see no objections there. So before we vote on that, I'll look at item 2 the same way. Item 2 is a conditional use approval request at 506 East Grand Avenue, also relating to a bar use on the premises there. Is there anybody in the audience, either by Zoom or by phone, that would object to this board granting approval of the requested conditional use at 506 East Grand Avenue? Hit the raise hand function on Zoom if you would object to that. And if you would object, then what we would do is we would open the case for testimony. And same sign by telephone participation. Hit star and 9 if you would object to us granting approval for item 2. If so, we'll hear it and take testimony. See anybody out there, staff?
I don't see any.
Okay, all right, board members, unless somebody has an objection or a question on items 1 or 2, would there be a motion to grant the conditional use request present in item 1 and 2?
This is Marlis. I will so move.
And is there a second?
This is Lynn Carlson, also move, or second.
All right, we got a motion and a second to grant approvals for item 1 and 2. So we'll take a roll call vote, yes or no?
Nathan Blake,
Yes.
Lynn Carlson,
Yes. Couldn't
thank you.
unmute.
That's all right. Dave Gare,
Yes.
Justin Gross,
Yes.
Marlis Jones,
Yes.
Cindy Smith,
Yes.
and Mel Pins.
Yes.
Motion to approve consent items 1 and 2 carries 7-0.
All right, so if you were here for items 1 or 2, the decision and order granting the conditional use approvals, staff will get those written up. Those will be available the first of the week. So if you need those so that you can have all those conditions written down, you need to comply with those. And then if you need any other permits, you'll be able to proceed forward with those. Okay, so appreciate you being here for the hearing today, those who are interested in our items. Our other points of business, the first one is approval of minutes from last month. And I believe Bert sent those out to us. And did anybody have any changes or concerns? If there are none, any members present last month can make a motion and then vote on approval of the minutes from September 23rd.
Mr. Chair, this is Lynn Carlson, also move to accept the minutes.
Okay, and do we have a second?
This is Marlis. I will second.
All right, and we'll take a roll call on minutes approval.
Justin Gross,
Yes.
Marlis Jones,
Yes.
Cindy Smith,
Yes.
Nathan Blake,
Yes.
Lynn Carlson,
Yes.
Dave Gare,
Yes.
and Mel Pins.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Great. And just as a point of note, I believe for both November and December, we'll have a slightly accelerated Wednesday schedule. And Bert's also got our next year's meetings up there too. So Bert, could you just review quickly? I think our November hearing would be the 18th. Is that correct?
Yeah, as you said, the November and December meetings are both going to be on the third Wednesday of the month. So it would be November 18 and December 16th. And then the same goes for this draft schedule that you need to approve now for 2021. All of the meetings are the fourth Wednesday of the month, except for November and December are the third Wednesday of the month.
Okay. Do we need to take any formal action to approve the proposed schedule for 2021?
Yeah, we do need to have a motion and a vote on it.
All right, we'll have a lot of discussion here, I'm sure. Would there be a motion?
This is Marlis. I will make a motion to approve that schedule.
And a second?
This is Justin Gross. I second.
All right. I want to get everybody on the microphones today. Okay. All right, we'll take roll call vote.
Nathan Blake,
Yes.
Lynn Carlson,
Yes.
Dave Gare,
Yes.
Justin Gross,
Yes.
Marlis Jones,
Yes.
Cindy Smith,
Yes.
and Mel Pins.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right. Bert, do we have any other business the board needs to tend to today?
I just had a few things I was going to mention. So as we already alluded to, the November meeting will actually be 3 weeks from today. I'll be publishing the agenda for that meeting, hopefully later this afternoon. I think we'll have 6 items on that agenda. And then I was also going to mention that meeting, the November meeting, is for sure going to be held over Zoom. Right now, the December meeting is still undecided whether it's going to be in person or over Zoom. Our city buildings are tentatively scheduled to reopen on December 1st. So we'll have to see if that changes here in the coming weeks, but I'll keep you all posted. And then the last thing I was going to mention was that we're still planning to have the training session either before or after the January Board of Adjustment meeting. So if anybody has any topics that they would like to get more information on or would like to discuss at that time, just feel free to send those my way at any time.
Cool. Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. We're always busy with it as a board here. So thanks for all your support. All right. So if that's all we've got for items for discussion, then this meeting was 25 minutes long and perhaps one of our shortest ever. I don't know.
I don't remember a time where we didn't have any full discussion. So
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, this agenda is hereby concluded, and I thank you all for your dedicated service. Have a good afternoon.
thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you all.
Bye.